strategy is something that links what you are going to do with some set of external stakeholders. So it's a true corporate strategy if what you're thinking about is how the organization will change what it delivers to its shareholders, or will change how it delivers things to its customers. A charity strategy is about how it will change what it does to deliver things to the people who benefit from the charity, or people who give them. Those who benefit from your outputs and those who invest in you to get some kind of return value. If it's just your team working out how to do something that's been decided upon on high, it's not a strategy, it's a plan. Okay? And it's fine, nothing wrong with a plan, everyone needs a plan, but don't call it strategy. I forget which professor it was, wrote a big tome called On Strategy, and about a third of it is devoted to defining strategy. And he said the only common thing that I could find about all the strategies that I saw being applied is that they cost a lot. You stick the word strategy in front of it and you can charge more for it. It doesn't make it a strategy. Okay, so remember that. So here, strategic change is about that interface between how the organization is configured and how it has a fit with the external environment. If all you're doing is improving the way a certain process works, that's not strategic change. It's change, but it's not strategic change. That's the main thing. That's the main thing to take away from that. We've got some other examples here. So there are three aspects of change. There's rate at which you do it, how it comes about, and its scale. And whereas once strategic change was always thought about in terms of a continuous change, and it was planned and it was corporate. Actually, there are lots more complexities to it. It can be incremental. It can still be strategic change. It's incremental. It can be modular. It can be by choice. An awful lot of strategic change is actually driven by a new chief executive or managing director coming in and saying, I'm going to drag this company into the 21st century, and it takes them 2 years before they realize actually they're already there. You get that very often when you work with government organizations. You get a new minister in, particularly one who's young and thrusting and wants to make their mark, and they decide to change everything because they know better. So that's the nature of strategic change, lots of aspects. The interesting thing is the alternative views. So there are generally three models of implementing strategic change. There's the classical approach. It's hard, it's rational, it's about defining the steps. You define that using a systematic or analytical approach, and then you have measures of control and hierarchy. Okay, and a very military sort of mindset of doing hard change. That very rarely works, largely because of people's culture. You know, it still does work in certain cultures. I have worked with clients at a Nigerian company in Turkey. There, that type of thing does work. People are much more still okay with just being told what to do by their boss, and they will just do it. In fact, they expect to be told what to do. They think it's weird if you ask them what do we do, because they can I told you to tell me. Whereas in this country, you don't know what the soft or OD stands for organizational development. So that's just a better way of saying soft. It's a pejorative term, but it's just organizational development. The idea is that the organization has an informal and formal aspect. People use the metaphor of the iceberg. The formal aspects are the top 10% that's above the waterline. The 90% that's underneath the waterline is all the informal power relationships and controls that people have. And this says you change through people and their involvement and their participation. So it's still driven top down. Management has decided we need a new strategy, we need to go in this direction because they have the overall view. But management accept that they can't just push this through. They now need to engage, they now need to say we need to get towards here, but how do we do it? Is that exactly the right place to do it? So that works much better if you genuinely try and do it. The best type of change is emergent. The best in the sense of actually leading to a fully embedded in change. The problem is you often don't have the time. Okay, but if you can have an organization that did this, that would be great. So it's bottom up and unplanned approach, incremental through the activities you undertake. But the key is you need a proper learning organization to do this. An organization is comfortable with learning different things in different parts, sharing that knowledge, and then adapting. That's actually quite hard. Now the other thing about this is that the top two approaches have frameworks you can use. The bottom one, by its very nature, doesn't have any frameworks. It's about emergence, what you see coming along. The closest thing to a framework for this bottom one is Richard Sengi's fifth discipline, where he talked through what do you have to learn. It's more of a skill. What do you have to know? What do you have to get your people to understand for your organization to be a learning organization? It's basically how you train your people to be the organisms of learning. So what I'm going to talk to you about now are frameworks in these top two things, because most organizations do that. But I would recommend, if you're interested, read Peter Sengi's book. It's quite old now, but it's very good. Peter Sengi, I think I've got listed it at the end. So, between those top two, how do you decide? Patton and McCallum came up with their tropics factors to help you decide. So if the time scale is short, you do hard, short to medium, you can do hard change, but if it's a little bit finer, medium to long, soft. If the resources can be clearly identified, it's hard. If they're uncertain, soft. If the objectives are clearly stated, hard is okay. If it's subjective and ambiguous, soft. My favorite one is perceptions of the problem and its potential solution. If it's shared by all, you can do hard change. What they mean by shared by all is management have decided and they've told you. Okay, that's what it means, is shared by all. Whereas if actually it's not, there's no consensus on what the problem is, what the solution is, then approach. Limited and defined usually to the management team, widespread and ill-defined here. Maintained by the management group, whereas here it could be shared with people outside the management group, indeed outside the organization as a whole, here. And then finally, it originates from within the organization, usually as a result of the annual or 3-yearly strategy round or finance round, whereas here is usually driven by things that people can see coming. But there isn't enough agreement on what the problem is or how you should change to be able to do that, so that's why it happens.
If we can maybe press the time, this side of the is very much
The soft side.
yeah, it's possible because it's soft. But it all seems very woolly, doesn't it?
That's the whole point. If it's woolly, if the criteria are woolly, then don't do hard change. Because if the criteria are woolly, one of the big challenges is getting people to buy into what the problem is first. So that's why you have to use this approach. So you're quite right, that is the point of this approach. Okay, now, if you remember only 2 slides today, make this be the second one. What was the first one? Strategy is? Oh, when, where, and I'm going to think of why is it here. When, where, and how to compete. Actually, that is a good point. Why? We are making the assumption that everyone knows why the organization exists. That assumption may not be a good one. Okay, so if it's a publicly listed company, why does an organization exist? That's easy. To generate a return for the shareholders. How they do it is produce plain good cars, so that's why. If you aren't a publicly listed organization, company, then we're making an assumption that you know why you're in business or why you're doing it. Okay, but that's mission, vision stuff. Strategy is about when, where, and how. Okay, so the second thing is the relationship between strategy and change. This is something I've learned as a result of my experiences. How do you know what the appropriate change mechanism is? I mean, we've got the tropics factors. That's around the situation you're in, but actually it's also linked to the organization you're in. And what I found was that the appropriate strategy and the appropriate change are linked. And the way in which you work it out is you look at how the executives in the organizations are meant or behave or are told to behave. If you're in an organization where you go into the organization as an executive and you're told, okay, Bob, your job is to make the decisions and everyone will follow you or they have to follow you. That's what they have to do. Okay. That's executive as decision maker. And in this type of environment, you can have classical and evolutionary strategy and you can implement it through a hard change approach. Because the organization is used to executives being managers. You might go to some cases that may in that area. If you're in an organization where people say, Bob, your job is to evangelize this change and bring people with you, not make the decision, but to evangelize, then you might still have some evolutionary strategy sometimes when you've got a crisis, but you should be sort of towards the processual. People are being involved. And if you're doing strategy in that way, then you have to implement change in this way. That won't work. That's a sort of discontinuity. And if you're lucky enough to be in an organization where you're told, Bob, your job is to find all the things that are causing the team problems and remove those barriers, to help them get over it. That's executives as an enabler. And in that type of organization, strategy has to be done processually or systemically. and change has to be implemented at the emergent, using the emergent process. Now, the problem that organisations have is the David Brent effect. Management pretend they're up there and that they're your friends and they're trying to get everything out of the way. But actually, they're secretly here. That as long as you do what they would have told you to do anyway, they're your pal. And then the moment everything gets difficult and they're pretending they're doing emergent and soft change, it's just JFDI. Okay? Just get it done. And that's a big problem. So when you're going into an organisation, assess how the executives are meant to work and how they work. Choose the strategy approach appropriately. Again, you can use all the same techniques, but you have to use them with a bit of care and sensitivity. And then when it gets to actually implementing it, think about, okay, what does this mean? This means, okay, you're basically helping them put their experiences into a context so that they can much more effectively share and adopt. Here, okay, you might have developed a strategy and you know where the organisation should go, but you need to get people to buy into they need to go that way and come up with ideas how you get there. Here, okay, fine. That's the normal. And the challenge is that normally when you deal with a big consultancy, this is what they do. Because they don't have time. No one's got the budget to do all this type of stuff. So they just do this. And that's why very often strategy doesn't work, because the organisation is up here normally. Okay?
Can I ask, in these sets of things, how do things differ in terms of tolerating perceived failure and taking responsibility for
Okay.
things?
Well, so toleration of failure and failing fast, failing early, that type of thing, much more here. So the acceptance of, okay, well, you've got a problem, you tried this, okay, it didn't work, but that's learning. So now let's spread this around. So in a true adaptive and learning organisation, tolerance of failure is it's actually a positive thing here. Whereas here, it's much harder because you've got the process. Why didn't you follow the process? It failed because you didn't follow the process. You must not follow the process. If you had, it wouldn't have failed. And so that's the attitude down here. Does that answer your question? Okay, so now the framework. So I'm going to whiz through these. We will get a chance to sort of practice and look through them in more detail when you then do the work. So the first thing is understanding the strategic environment. So the famous one is Porter's forces. Originally it was Porter's four forces. What he did was he did some research with big companies, conglomerates. What do they think about when they're developing something? And he says that they think about the four forces on the outside: supply power, firepower, new entrants, and substitutes. And each of the elements within this, basically they're just checklists. What you do is you research the industry and you tick off what answer you have against each of these criteria. You can look this up, there are lots of different versions of this on the internet. Now the key is, you don't have to have a good answer for all of these. What you might say is, well, the issue about buyers' volumes is not relevant, it's not changing, it's not going to drive a change in your strategy. What you're doing is you're just making sure you've considered everything you need to have considered and identified the things that are actually important. So that's why it's a checklist. Now we have the original four forces. He was then criticised by organisations like McKinsey because it didn't really take into account how people behave. The four forces on the outside are what we would call structural issues. The structure of the industry drives your profitability, and that's the main thing. So it feeds into sort of microeconomics views of everything being driven by price and volume. And that is fine if you are a structural industry. If you're a mining company, if you're food and agriculture, paper and pulp, all those type of organisations where the product itself is not brandable. The product itself is fairly standard, and all that matters is what price can you get the most volume out of. Okay, so it works very well for that. But if you've got a non-structural industry or company where actually the way people manage themselves, the way in which they compete, the way in which they behave is important, then this isn't quite so good. That's why the fifth force comes in, so he put in many of those issues. So the competing method, which was done around the same time, was structure, content, performance, and this is sort of McKinsey's house approach. What this says is actually there's many more things you have to think about than structure. You have to think about the external shocks, you have to think about the structure of the industry, but then you also have to think about how the industry players conduct themselves and about the performance. And the way it goes is that the external shocks are generally at the macroeconomic scale. What are the shocks coming into our economy as a whole? The structure is about the industry. The conduct is about your competitors in the the sectors within the industry that you play in, and finally performance is about you. And the reason this is sort of potentially better for most organizations is that it brings in an understanding that performance drives conduct and conduct drives structure. And structure, performance. If your structure is such that you've got very few competitors, you're a bigger player, you're naturally going to make more money. If you make more money, then you can change how you conduct yourself to block out competitors. And if you block out competitors, the structure changes to your benefit. And it can also have a negative side as well. But you use it. So,
where do you fit reputation into this model?
Reputation, sort of, reputation on the whole fits into here. There isn't a thing that says reputation, but it's. Is there something? Not really. So let me come back to that. On this side, you use it like a checklist, and on this side you would think about, okay, what are all the technological impacts and shocks, lifestyle changes? You have to think quite broadly about these things. So just because you've got these particular points, those aren't the only things you have to think about. But if we take taste and lifestyle, one of the biggest drivers of taste and lifestyles at the moment, people will have in their heads a concern for the environment or healthy eating. Actually, a bigger driver is the aging population. The country that's aged quickest is actually China, because the one-child population policy is going over the hump very much more quickly than everyone else. Japan has already got there, so it's pretty much that. Europe and America are almost there, and China's going to say very quickly. That will drive a change in what people are looking for and what they're interested in. Legislation, you also have to think about more broadly. It's not just about government legislation. When I joined McKinsey, in my naivety, I imagined that the way companies competed is they produce a better or a cheaper product. I was quite surprised at how many studies were related to chief executives trying to lobby government to change the laws to benefit their firms. Okay, so that's another form of shock through legislation. Yet another one is standard setting. So I'm looking around, maybe a couple of you will remember VHS versus Betamax on videotapes. And what happened there was you had two different standards, and the companies who were pushing each of them had to compete for a number of years before one of them won. Companies don't like doing that because they invest a lot in technology, it takes them ages, and then one of them loses. They much prefer, on the whole, to compete through standard setting. So it means if you've got technology, you put your technology forward to a body of maybe 12 people, so that's cheaper than trying to compete with millions of people to buy your products. Compete with 12. If you're the loser, okay, you've only wasted about 18 months investing in this technology. You simply license the winning technology, you make the product, and you move on to the next competition. So that's again another form of legislation. Structure, you think about the economics of demand, supply, and industry chain economics. Okay, in the conduct, this is where things like reputation fit in. So here you think about aspects of marketing, price, the volumes, the advertising you do, the new product distributions, new products you develop and the distribution. And when we come in later on to talk about how you compete is where the reputation can come in terms of where you position yourself. Then you've got things about how can you change your capacity, how can you think about integration. I'll just touch upon this. Everyone is some part of the supply chain, and if you're in the middle of the supply chain, so if you produce furniture for IKEA, you could forward integrate by opening up your own shop on the high street, or you could backward integrate by buying wood or a woodman. Okay, it's fairly unfashionable now to be fully vertically integrated because, as I said, people, although you had conglomerates in the 70s, people found that they didn't perform very well. Better is to focus on your particular area, but do something to help control the supply chain. So you can do that by joint ventures or long-term contracts. And that's what IKEA does. It controls the entire supply chain, but doesn't own it. Now, something else just to mention, when you get to your work, things like the shape of the supply curve is really only relevant if you're doing commodities. Things like information market failure very rarely happens nowadays. We've got so much information. This is, do you have enough information to set your prices and decide on your capacity? Most industries you do. The one exception in this country is the way in which the National Health Service is run. Because of the way it's been broken up, the information around what capacity to have beds in hospitals and how much and how you should set your pricing just isn't there. So that's why you have a slightly bizarre situation. Is if you're given a prescription and you pay for your prescription, it's better not to show the pharmacist your prescription. Just get the drug off prescription service, painkillers. pay less if you buy the painkiller yourself rather than if you hand your prescription over that one, because there isn't the information. But none of the companies that you will look at will have any issues with either shape of the supply curve or information market value. It's just a checklist of things that you may have to do. Okay, so when you do this, all you do is use it as a checklist. You make sure you understand everything you need to understand about the industry, and the only thing it will tell you is, okay, has anything significant changed compared to where I was? Is my performance okay? If it's okay, do I need to worry about what other people are doing in the industry? And if I do or don't, are there going to be significant changes in the structure coming up due to some of these shocks? If the answer to all of those is no, 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 then maybe you don't need a new strategy. Maybe your current strategy is fine and you can tell McKinsey, okay, stand down, I don't pay you. Okay, and how often does that? Never. Okay, so too often the temptation is, let's do a new strategy just for the sake of it. This will help you understand whether you really need to, and if you do, where the challenges are. Next thing is then going to the, where do I focus? So if you're a small company, you only have a small number of products or a small number of groups. Hands-off is fine. Again, a bit of a checklist. It highlights you've got 4 options. You can base around, do you have current products or new products? So you look at current markets or new markets. So you can stay with your current market and your current product and just get greater market share. That can be hard if you've already got high market share, but if you've got low market share, maybe it's easier. You could take a new product into your existing market, or you could take your existing product into a new market, or you could try and do both of these. Now, hopefully you'll see that trying to do 2 things at the same time is naturally more risky than doing one thing. So that's why I'm trying to avoid this one. Out of market development and product development. Very often people imagine that product development is the riskier thing. Actually, on the whole, market development is the riskier thing. It's just that we're much more aware of product development's going wrong. So if Dyson would have come up with a new product and it went horribly wrong, because we all know about Dyson, we'd be very aware of it. We're far less aware, I suspect, of the fact that I think Asda tried to expand into America and it went horribly wrong. Tesco tried to expand into France and it all went horribly wrong. Okay? So the same product with new markets, why do people go horribly wrong? Don't shop people shop in the same way. Well, the answer is no. There are so many cultural and other factors around how people buy products. We can't guarantee the product in one area doesn't work very well, will transfer to another. And the problem is that if it doesn't work, then you've got no one to ask. Because the reason it hasn't worked is you haven't got very many sales in your new market. If you take a new product into an existing market, by definition, you have who you can ask. So if it hasn't worked very well, there are relationships you've got, you can get some updates, you can improve it. It might cost you a bit, but you can improve it. So actually, on the whole, this is less risky than this one, but people are far more aware of the risk of doing this. No, so it can be a different segment. So market development can be same country, but a totally different segment. The same rules apply. If it's a segment you haven't dealt with before, who do you ask as to why they didn't buy it? Okay. Good examples of that is challenges that tech companies go through. So when they start up, they are normally dealing with early adopters, people who don't care about the reliability of the technology. Frankly, if it breaks, they love it. Then as the company gets bigger, it can't rely on that small group of people, so it needs to go to the mass market and then eventually late adopters. And one of the challenges that companies have is it's very difficult to please both sets. If you've built up a certain sales force or a support unit that are good at dealing with people who ask very technical early questions, it's very much harder for them to be the same people who will understand the average late adopter like me, understanding what matters to them. So that's what it is. So if you're a small company, you can just think about those. However, these are some of the examples of where you might get market famous. Okay? All of these companies, very successful in the Far East, they maybe won't do quite so well here. I took pictures of these on my phone. Okay, so then, what if you're a bigger company? You've got many more options. The Boston Consulting Group in the late 70s did some research with Harvard to understand, okay, what makes a successful business unit? This was still the age of the conglomerate. And what they found was that the 2 best indicators for business unit success was relative market share and market growth. Relative market share, basically, I compare my market share with the share of my biggest competitor, and then and what they said was you can position products or opportunities or market segments around these particular quadrants, and it tells you what to do. So this is just made up names of drugs. And what you would do is you would say, right, if you're a star, what that means is the market is growing quickly and you've already got a high market share. So that's usually indicative of a relatively new market, but one where you become dominant. So you would invest to protect it. Okay, you may not be making that much profit from it yet because it's still growing fast and you need to invest, but it's your star. If you're in the cash cow, it's not growing very fast, but you've got a good market share. Normally it's a mature market, so you don't invest very much there. You manage it to throw off as much cash as possible, manage it for efficiency. If you're down at the bottom right, low market share and low growth, you get rid of it. It's called a dog. I love my dog, but it's called a dog because it eats and doesn't provide any value. So those are the things that in those days, when we were originally doing this, we would divest of it, we would get rid of it. Nowadays, we wouldn't be quite so crude. Nowadays, we'd say you'd monetize it because you could get rid of it, or you could franchise it, or you could outsource it, or there are lots more options for releasing the cash that's tied up in there. And what you do is you take the cash that you get from getting rid of this, and the cash that you get from managing this as efficiently as possible. You invest a little bit to protect there, but you invest most of it in one of the question marks. So the question marks is not very good. You've got a small market share, but it is growing very fast, so it's worth investing in. And you've got to decide which of those you invest in. Example is either the revenue of the entire market or the revenue you get from that market. And so clearly, if it's a big bubble, you don't just want to divest of it because it might be earning you a lot of volume. So that's why you invest in that business to get it over to be a